Since the existence of our planet and during the millions of years that have gone by, the climate has naturally changed, mainly due to the variations in energy from the sun and volcanic eruptions. However, in the last few years, scientists have questioned the abnormal increases in average temperatures on the surface of the Earth. Since the beginning of the 20th century, the average temperatures on the surface of the Earth have increased by 0.74 degrees Celsius, of which 0.65 degrees Celsius just in the last 50 years. This increase in temperature has caused several climatic variations, the most obvious being the increase in arid zones and desertification around the world. As a consequence of the increases in temperature, scientists have observed a reduction of global snow cover and of the thickness of the ice caps. Sea levels have increased by 10 centimeters in 100 years, redrawing the coastal lines and threatening entire populations. Intense rainfall is becoming ever more frequent, creating a significant rise in the number of floods. The number of hurricanes and tornadoes has also risen, causing increasing amounts of damage. Finally, global climate change is disturbing the natural ecosystems and, as a consequence, increasing the amount of animal and plant extinctions. Scientists have shown, partially thanks to the historical data stored in glacial ice cores, the correlation between the increase in greenhouse gases in the atmosphere and the increase in temperature. These gases are carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, ozone, hydrofluorocarbon gases. The increase in greenhouse gas concentrations is due to human activities. These activities consist of industrial activity and their use of energy. This is the first cause for greenhouse gases, accounting for 31% of emissions. Buildings, residential housing, offices and shops are important sources of greenhouse gases, accounting for 21% of emissions. Electricity production, 20%. Transport, cars, planes, as well as boats, account for 20% of greenhouse gases. Agriculture, 7%. Combustion of waste, 1%. If we do not change our habits, temperatures will be brought to increase even further in the years to come and will lead to further climate change with increasingly alarming repercussions. How can we prevent this? Firstly, we can all quantify the carbon footprint of our activities. Indeed, there are methods available to calculate and quantify this impact. One can, as an individual, company or political entity, calculate the quantity of CO2 that we emit per year when driving our cars, heating our buildings, or when travelling by plane. We can then look towards minimizing this impact, for example, by insulating our houses, driving in more efficient cars, or by limiting our air travel. Lastly, we can offset our remaining emissions to become CO2 neutral. What is carbon offsetting? Financing a project such as a renewable energy or energy efficiency which abates greenhouse gas emissions, thus reducing in another location an equivalent amount of carbon emissions. The underlying principle being that a defined amount of carbon emissions in one location can be reduced by an equivalent quantity of carbon emission reductions in another.